Hello and welcome to this week on Drinkin with Dave. Now this week, as there continues to be a lack of homebrew, we are tasting Guinness Extra Stout, which would be this one. It's from a can, but you know, nothing wrong with canned beer. First off, the visual inspection. Now, if you notice at the start of the video, there was quite a lot of head on the pour of this beer. It's dropped down now to about half an inch, maybe quarter inch of a tan head, a brownish head. It's not white like lager is. The beer is incredibly dark. It is an incredibly dark brown red when held up to light. I'll just show you here. Incredibly dark reddish brown when held up to light, but in all other instances black, very black beer. It's the winter time, so I get to drink black beer now. Smell test. Not much. Most of the smell seems to be trapped by the head. There's that deep roasted smell. The reason people say that Guinness smells like coffee is because they roast the barley the same way they roast coffee beans. Well, not exactly the same way, but in a similar way. So the roasted barley is what gives it that coffee kind of smell. It doesn't smell like coffee, but it smells kind of like coffee. There's not a whole lot to go on, just a deep, rich smell. Coffee with occasional lightness. I want to say there's a lightness on the end of it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, on to the tasting. Well, initially you get this big rich mouthfeel, I think, with the extra stout, more so than with the regular stout, because this is carbonated with CO2 and not nitrogen like the regular draft. You start off with this bitter thing that coats the tongue, which would probably be the hops. There's a middle maltiness, and then it seems to go back to the bitter right at the end. It's almost a little too bitter, but it's quite good. I really enjoy this beer. The other reason I'm drinking this beer is because this Thursday, which this video will be going up on Thursday, is Arthur's Day, which means it's like 252 years or something since 1759, which is apparently when Arthur Guinness started making Guinness. So, for 252 years, here's to anybody in Ireland will know they ran those ads to Arthur, and then at kind of the salute got Chinese whispered around the place, and it was to Arthur, and then to Martha, and then to llamas. It was a very effective ad campaign, but everybody seems to have gotten into Arthur's Day, so we're doing it again this year. So this week I've made a Black Rock Bock, which is from a company in New Zealand. They're the Black Rock Company. We brewed it on the 17th of September, which we started off. 23 litres of water, used light spray malt, 1 kilogram of that. It's all looking very well. The original gravity is 1.064. It's a good, healthy original gravity, I think. Using the spray malt, we should probably get it down to about 4.5%, 5%, something like that. I received a question from D-Alt username regarding original gravity. He provided me with his original gravity, I think, and his final gravity. And asked about is it possible that non-correctly dissolved sugars would lead to a lower original gravity reading, and I don't really think that's possible. I think that once the yeast and the sugar are all in the beer, whether the sugar is solids or dissolved, the yeast is going to get added eventually. So his original was 1034, which is quite low, and 1014 was the final gravity, which is quite high. So that means the beer is a prospective 2.6 to 3.1% for, he made a Canadian blonde as well. So it's looking like that there hasn't been any problems with your fermentation. It just whatever happened with the amount of sugars that were in the beer, or the attenuation of the yeast. I think you said was about 60%, and that seems about right for the amount of sugar that's been taken. So most yeasts attenuate or are able to eat 70% of the available sugars. Some will eat a lot more. The draft batch we did recently, the yeast really went to town on the sugar. The yeast almost zeroed out the sugar in the beer, almost dropping the hydrometer down to 1.000, which is the same as water. The other stuff that I've been doing this week is I have been preparing a calendar. So the calendar here is the 4 beers that I would like to do before Christmas. But I have 1 fermenter and 1 set of demijohns. So at the minute. So I had to work out a calendar to see, is it feasible to get all of these beers done and conditioned in the demijohns and stuff like that before Christmas. So here's the basic outline. We're currently brewing the bock. That will be that'll be bottled on the 24th or 25th of this month. Then immediately after, we start brewing a dark ale. After that finishes brewing, a week later we put it in demijohns. Then we brew the Irish Stout, which is going to be an all liquid malt brew, which I'm happy about that. No, sorry, that'll be the 2nd of October. And then a week later I'll just bottle that. I won't be putting that in demijohns. Then we will brew an Cooper's English Bitter. It's Eamon's choice of Christmas beer. We'll be brewing that around the 10th of October. Then we will be bottling that after about a week. He wants to let that sit then for the full time between about the 16th or 17th of October. From there all the way up until Christmas. So that should be about 2.5 months. So that's going to be really tasty. Then we're going to make a heavy. Make the heavy, and we'll brew the heavy. We'll take the dark ale from the demijohns and put it in bottles. Then we will put the heavy in demijohns. Then we'll bottle the dark ale, and then bottle the heavy around the 20th. The heavy will be starting to brew about 17th of October. 24th of October we demijohn it, and then after that it sits in the demijohns for about a month. So the dark ale will be sitting in the demijohns for a month, and the heavy will be sitting in the demijohns for a month, which means that we will have 3 beers for Christmas, which is the Cooper's English Bitter, Cooper's Dark Ale, and I think it's a Muntons Heavy. And we'll be having an Irish Stout ready around Halloween. Well, that's really everything for this week on Drinking with Dave. So if you'd like to leave me some comments some questions in comments, that'd be great. Like and subscribe for more of these videos, and I'll see you next week on Drinking with Dave.